Yeah, I suppose very disappointed, Gavin, is the immediate reaction, but maybe not so surprised. We had felt over the last couple of weeks, watching the numbers coming in, people were saying on the street and, just in general conversations that it could happen again, that we'd be into some sort of lockdown, and what would that mean for the GA world, not just the country in general, So the statement just released there only an hour ago, not even, so I haven't really got into much detail in it and reading it, but all club game activity is games are gone, so for the moment, for the foreseeable future. So extremely disappointing, especially when you consider, we've done exceptionally well, I would think, here in Waterford, exceptionally well with all of the the condensed season and the condensed weekends that we had to play games, and we got, I suppose the hurling season, as we call it, not out of the way, but we got the hurling games played, and we were nearly there with the football activity from a club point of view, club activity. But unfortunately, yes, obviously there's people in Croke Park in discussions with the government and the health authorities, and they feel that this is the best interest of everybody. So the GA from the very outside has always said, the President there, the Uachtaráin and Tom Ryan, have always said that the GA would, first and foremost, would be the health of the country and the state of the country in the pandemic, and judging on that as we go, and whatever decisions will have to be made will be taken on those bases, and that's really what they've done today. But like I said, I haven't really got much read into it, but extremely disappointing, extremely disappointing, to be honest with you. It is very disappointing.
Yeah, indeed, and especially given the fact that, everything had gone so well, I suppose, Sean, up to this point, and, the county football final, Rathcormac and Ballynacorty due to meet there on Saturday. Just very, very unfortunate for those two clubs in particular.
It is, yeah. They've been training and all the way, and obviously, now they have to just stop, you know what I mean? Obviously, from a games point of view, the county final is postponed. We will obviously have a CCC, have to sit down and assess it once we get to draw a breath and suss out what's happening. But unfortunately for the Rathcormac team, and also, it's they've been waiting now for the game, and it's been postponed. And now obviously the Ballynacorty lads as well, so it's been postponed, and that's the way it is. We just have to adhere to that and go with it. It's extremely disappointing, but what can one say? What one can say other than that? And again, you said it there yourself. I'd like to acknowledge, the great work that has been done by everybody in the clubs. They really have been bought into it over the last couple of weeks. With hand sanitizers and signs and returns to play protocols and all of that was going so well. But unfortunately, it wasn't good enough, I suppose, nationally, and that's why the decisions were made today by Croke Park.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was mentioned there in the statement about the GA expressing disappointment with the post-match scenes, I suppose, and lack of social distancing, which is kind of somewhat maybe disappointing when you're reading that, Sean, that maybe not everyone kind of obeyed the guidelines.
Yeah, I've said it from probably day one at some of the meetings that was had here in Waterford. All we can ask is everybody to put their best foot forward at all times. Just keep doing your best. This is new to everybody. It's a pandemic that we've never seen before. It's very difficult to, we put up with, ticket allocations and return to play guidelines for everybody, and COVID supervisors and protocols and guidelines, and we try to get to know them as best we could and learn them. But I suppose the key things all along was the social distancing and hand sanitizing and wear the masks and that. And obviously there've been one or two occasions that hasn't been the case at match celebrations, not just in Waterford. I suppose there's been one or two team photographs and so on and so forth, and also, but nationally you can see it as well yourself on the press and on the social media. To ourselves in the county board, and we've been sending out all those correspondences and all the protocols, and by and large I think most people have been trying to do their best and put their best foot forward. But when you look at the national picture and the numbers going up, that's really, I suppose, the decision that they had to take in Croke Park today. The COVID team that we have in Croke Park, along with maybe getting recommendations from the government agencies, and that's the decision that we've had to take. Obviously, it wasn't going according to plan, as they say, from their point of view.
Yeah, absolutely, and highlighted again in the short statement that I think it was always said from the outset, Sean, even with the resumption of games, that public safety was always going to be the number one, I suppose, in the situation we're in at the minute.
That was it, and you go back now as far as March, that was the original, the first one, public safety. I've said that already. Everybody, all the decisions that the GA were taking was in the public interest of everybody's safety. not just GA people or GA members, but the public by and large. And there was the shutdown, and then we had no games for a long period of time. And we can all remember the social media drills that people were putting up in their back gardens and stuff like that. And we thought we'd never get to play games, and then we got a bit of a lift, and there was great buzz of activity when our club grounds were back for training. Before any games, there was training. We're still wondering would we or wouldn't we have games, and then we got to have the games, and that was brilliant really over the last couple of weeks. Heavy schedule of matches and whatever, but the trends have been going in the opposite direction that we would have liked and would have wanted, obviously. And again, the GA nationally, we're only following what the guidelines that have been given to us now and the new protocols, and basically the recommendations are that all games in club activities is to cease until further notice. So we just have to adhere to that. And like I said, it's very, very unfortunate again. We were probably so close to getting county football finals completed in the calendar year in that short window of 10, 12 weeks. We were very, very close, but unfortunately, that's where we are. That's the situation that we find ourselves in. So we just have to reassess it now and see where we go and take it. So we will be meeting obviously during the course of the week as a county board and the CCC, but really we probably have to have the guidance from people in Croke Park to know when we can go back, when we can resume. So until then, it's just club training, I understand.
Yeah, absolutely. That was in the statement. Yeah, the clubs can continue their training as per the guidelines outlined for the relevant levels in the government's national framework for living with COVID-19 and relevant guidelines in the 6 counties. Now, obviously, Sean, I could think there's a big meeting obviously later on this evening, because we're recording this piece this afternoon. So obviously the government decision later on as regards maybe further restrictions could hinder as well the inter-county setup, which is due to commence later this month, of course, with both Waterford senior hurling and football teams due to play on the 31st of October. So again, that decision this evening could have a big impact on the inter-county as well, which for the minute is okay where we are. But again, you just don't know, I suppose, the way things are falling, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it, Gavin. Again, I go back a couple of months. That's the way it was for a while. There was a lot of uncertainty. There was a lot of unknowns, and there was dates changing the whole time, and you could do this on certain dates, and so on and so forth. And I suppose there's an element of that frustration coming in again now, and an element of uncertainty coming in at this moment in time. From that point of view, it's kind of all systems go, if that's the word to use, you know what I mean. But for the moment, who knows what will happen later on today and later on over the next couple of days or weeks if the trends keep going in the opposite direction of what all the government agencies want it to be, so we have to just take guidance from those at the moment. So for the moment, it's the club games have been ceased, and everything else is more or less, as is, I suppose, in a way. Even though when I say as is, it's a funny as is. It's certainly not normal activity.
Yeah, it's tough, and of course, the inter-county teams, they've been back, of course, Sean, since the middle of September there, and getting players back in, and I suppose that's been great, but it has been challenging, I suppose, obeying the protocols and that. But it would be really frustrating now, I suppose, for all the inter-county teams were that to be pulled as well, wouldn't it? Like to be another huge blow.
Obviously, yeah, it would. It'd be hugely disappointing for those and for general spectators, but for the players and everybody involved that has been, putting in so much. I mean, they were going well at the start of the year. All the teams, they were training, and then they were all stopped, and then they were back again. So to stop again without having the championship matches to play, there's some league matches even there to be played. So yeah, that would be hugely disappointing. But again, at this moment in time as we speak, Gavin, it's we don't know until we know more. You know what I mean? So it is all up in the air, shall we say? But hopefully, we live in hope that it'll continue on, and that the numbers will start coming back down. But it all depends on lots of other pieces, I'm sure, coming together.
Yeah, it certainly does indeed. And I just chatting before, I was chatting to you, Sean, there to Eric Furlong, the Board and Oak chairman, of course, and everything, gone well there the last couple of weeks, and I know involved in the committee myself there that currently we've the under 13, under 15 foot, just nearly there with it as well, getting into knockout stages, and that's been just cut short for the moment. But the effort that the various boards have put in here in the county over the last couple of months really has been, it goes unnoticed, I suppose, at times.
It does, yeah. No, and like Eric has done a wonderful job as well at Board and Oak, but equally so the divisional boards and all the boards. You know what I mean? Even in the camogies and ladies football, there was so much activity over the last 10, 12 weeks, and it's amazing. Really, it seemed to get on, and every games were being played, and the results were flying in, and there was matches and fixtures, and everyone got on with it, and it seemed to be working quite well. But unfortunately, that isn't the case, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I'd like to sincerely thank everybody within the GA world, you know, in Waterford, you know, the club and divisional boards and county board officers. That really, it's been a terrible time, you know what I mean, and to learn new guidelines and new protocols and whatever like that. But everybody put the shoulder to the wheel and gave it that extra little bit of an effort, you know. And on top of that, then you're, you know, trying to deal with the ticket situation, and at certain times we're allowed certain numbers, and other times we're behind closed doors. So it was all coming at us. But in fairness to each and every one of the, you know, the volunteers in those officer positions, you know, all volunteers, they put the shoulder to the wheel, like I said, and we seem to be doing a good job, to be honest with you. We seem to be going well.
Yeah, and I think on that note, Sean, it's a nice one to end on, I suppose, to use a cliche that, you know, we just have to play it by ear, as they say. But I know you're a busy man, your phone is probably hopping all afternoon, but much appreciated that you've taken the call, and thanks for joining us. And sure, look, we'll touch base there again during the week, and stay safe, as they say.
Absolutely, no problem at all, Gavin, anytime. Thanks very much.